And we are wrestling with TNA Slammiversary. This was a matinee show because there was literally three wrestling events on Sunday. We had this show, Great American Bash, and an AEW Forbidden Door, all on the same show, all on the same day, I should say. And TNA was at least smart enough to know that they shouldn't go up against two other wrestling events, so they started the show earlier. That's why we're covering this one first. Um, it took place in Boston, Massachusetts at the Agnes Arena, and there was 8 matches on this card. And if I'm being completely honest, out of the three wrestling shows that I saw on Sunday, also keep in mind I did not watch three wrestling shows on Sunday. I definitely did. I definitely um let it span. I um I'll say this. I watched NXT on Monday. I watched um AEW on Tuesday and Wednesday, and I watched this show TNA on Thursday. So it is the most freshest in my mind, compared to the other shows as well. So, and I will say, out of all three shows, this was probably my favorite. I thought that it was a solid show. It presented their wrestlers in a good way. I felt like every match had something that made you pop. Um, Honestly, all around, a really solid show, if I'm being honest. Let's get into it. We have Ultimate X for the X Division Championship. Cedric Alexander defeated Amazing Red. Fabian Eichner, Frankie Kazarian, Casey Navarro, Leon Slater, and Mr. Elegance. Um, Definitely a solid opener. Get the crowd going. Um, the car cross mentality, and it definitely had all of that working for it. People were hot for it. It went well. Um, I think that the ending was actually pretty good as well with um Leon Slater holding the championship, and then Alexander just swooping in and grabbing it. Um Solid ending into the match. And then we got that great moment with Kazarian and Red, where he would Red found out that he was being inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame. I didn't know that Amazing Red was actually still wrestling, so this was amazing just to see him wrestle. I know that he does still he trains pro wrestlers. I've interviewed a couple of his students. Um, so yeah, just really good, solid. Like I said, solid opening to the whole entire show. Um, I will give it 3.5. Right. Then we have AJ Francis um versus Elijah. Had Elijah lost, Francis would have owned his name, likeness, and music catalog. That didn't happen. Elias won. Well, I should say Elijah. Uh, Gonna be completely honest here. Don't like Elijah. Don't like AJ Francis. It was just a 3 hour show. I will give them that. It, but I was so, what's the word here? Um, I was so like sick of seeing people I disliked from the night prior, the whole AEW debacle, that I just did not. Why was I going to watch a show with, two guys that I absolutely despise? I wasn't into it. If there was maybe, if this was the only show I was going to review today, I might have considered watching it. Um, it did not play out that way. I wanted to speed it up. Um, and that's what I did. So I give this two fast forward bars. Then we have Demon Bunny, Rosemary, and Ali defeating the Elegance brand, Heather by Elegance and M by Elegance, um, to capture the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championships in 9 minutes 40 seconds. Solid match. Ash by Elegance got involved. The Casio got a face full of mist from Rosemary. And it's funny. As much as things change, things stay the same. Rosemary and Ali are back together and, killing it as a tag team. Like who knew? Um, like I said, solid match, kept the people going, did not overstay its welcome as well. All around successful in my book. Um, 3 stars. And then we have triple threat match for the TNA International Championship. Mustafa Ali defeated Rich Swann and Aha Nation, formerly Apollo Crews. I don't know whose idea was to give him the name Aha. But yeah, that's his name now. The other thing I would say worth noting in this match was Rich Swann that totally threw me off because Rich Swann did not look like Rich Swann. Uh, so yeah, I did not necessarily like that, but I think that was definitely another solid match. Um, I feel like Mustafa just works on a whole different level. He does the bad guy stuff really well. He does just being a good wrestler really well. He knows how to put everything together perfectly. And Tasha Steele deserves a medal for the way that she works with him as well. Like it's lightning in a bottle, and it works really well. Um, Rich Swann still goes fantastically. Uha Nation did his nation thing. I don't really feel like he presented me anything new or that I haven't seen already. But yeah, Mustafa was definitely the standout of this match for sure. Um, 3.5 stars. I'll give it. Now I will say this about this show. I think it was the best formatted. I feel like all of the matches, the placement of the matches worked really well. I think that they all the matches built to a climax rather than this was a little bit off or this seemed like a weird transition into this match or every maybe not all the matches delivered what they needed to, but it what happened the placement of the matches were the correct ones, I will say. Which brings us to a no surrender match. Moose with JDC defeated Eddie Edwards with Elisa Edwards in his corner. Uh, yeah, never seen a no surrender match, so this was definitely new territory for me. Um, Apparently there's only ever been one other in the history of TNA wrestling. Okay, that's fine. Um, I like the match. I thought that both guys did a lot of, brutal things to each other, without getting gory or, leaving a bad taste in people's mouth. Um, I think the main, thing that was uncomfortable or was, added to the match was that Moose's wife and child was in the crowd. I say child. He was probably a teenager if I'm being honest. Um, Definitely old enough. um, and they used Moose's family against him, and like that was like insane because like I've never seen these people before. Like as far as I know, his wife isn't a former wrestler or knows how to bump, and she's getting thrown to the ground. And like it definitely was, shocking, honestly. You wouldn't expect them to kind of go there, and they did. Um, then, Eddie took Moose's son going for, a pile driver, and his son hits him low. So he gets a little mile of revenge for his mom and dad. Moose breaks out of his, constraints. His wife gets a shot on Alicia. Um, Alicia throws in the towel for Eddie. Alicia and Eddie go to a table, and one of the better table spots I've ever seen. Like it looked like brutal, like how he put them through the table. So I would say that everything worked really well in this match. It wasn't for what they needed to do, I wouldn't say like, it was operating on a different level or anything. Like, you could see the setups, you could see, you know, how things was how they were setting things up, kind of sort of, seeing how the sausage is made, so to speak. But I don't think that it took away from the match. I think you kind of just, you know, there was emotion in the match. It it got you invested, even though it wasn't triple. It wasn't what's it called it wasn't a blockbuster movie. It it was a directed TV, a directed streaming movie that was still solid enough to get a good review. Let's go with that. Three, no, 4 stars. I like the match. 4 stars. A lot of things I did not expect. Definitely popped me. It all worked, in my opinion. Then we have the TNA Knockouts World Championship match. Isaiah Brookside defeated Li Yang Lee in 12 minutes 50 seconds. Probably the weakest match on the card, if I'm being completely honest. I wasn't necessarily a big fan of it. Um, I don't think that Zaya showed that she was like this evil heel or anything. It looked like she was kind of struggling to be a heel, if I'm being honest. Um, but as Kalika would say, the ends justify the means. She turned heel, so she needed, that reason. She needed to justify that, so she got that justification. She's champion for the first time, so we'll see what she does with it. Um, I don't think that this first match out necessarily, strengthened any of that, if I'm being honest, but, we'll see. Um, 3 stars, I'll say. And then we have four-way ladder match for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. The Broken Hardys, Matt and Jeff, defeated Brian Myers and Bear Bronson, Vincent and Dutch, and Jason Hotch and John Skylar. This was an insane fucking match. Like, it was brutal. There was a a ladder wrapped in barbed wire and flowers. Vincent fucking poisoned Brian Myers in this match. There was a table spot that was fucking insane, but 4 tables. Jeff jumped off something high, which I mean is just like a staple at this point. Like you're expecting him to. Um, Definitely not your run-of-the-mill normal ladder match. It was definitely memorable in that regard. I don't think I'm going to forget Brian Myers getting poisoned during a match, but I digress. We'll see. Um, did the Hardys need to win? I have no idea at this point, but they won. People enjoyed it. People seem to like it. I'm not mad at it either. It is what it is. Um, I think it just did. It was a fun match, got the crowd going, and yeah, I'll give it 4 stars. It was pretty solid. Then we have the main event, the last match. We have Nick Namek defeating Mike Santana to capture the TNA World Championship. This was the Call Your Shot Gauntlet trophy cash in, whatever you want to call it. That's what it was. So it was successfully cashed in. So there's that. Um, yeah, it was a solid match. Both guys worked hard. I'm not really a fan of Nick, so him winning the championship didn't necessarily do it for me. But I do think that it was still a good match. And it seemed like it deserved to be on, the main event slot because, it was a championship match. It was the championship, the most important championship that they have. And you want it to feel like it's a big deal. So, it was. I don't know how I feel about Santana losing the championship again. But we'll kind of see what happens with that. I know that, WWE is actively interested in Santana and his contract's coming up. So, this might be the reason why he's not, they took the belt off of him. So we shall see what happens there. The match itself, 3.5, I would say. It was okay. Definitely didn't wow me. Definitely didn't light the world on fire. But, I suppose it did what it needed to. Alright, show as a whole. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. Definitely a thumbs up. Out of all 3 wrestling shows last Sunday, this was definitely my favorite. I would definitely recommend going to see Slammiversary, and I would recommend, um, I would go back and I would watch this again, if I had to. So yeah, uh, that will conclude our coverage of TNA Slammiversary.
Hey, folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show. Support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.